This is everybody's favorite superstar, Rob Van Dam. You're catching me on the Interactive Interview. Sweet.
You're listening to Interactive Wrestling Radio, featuring the Interactive Interview, courtesy of WrestlingEpicenter.com.
WWE superstars right now, Mr. Thursday Night, Rob Van Dam. Rob, how you holding up?
I'm holding up, guys.
Well, the first thing I think on everyone's mind is you injured your leg a while ago. How are you doing with that, and how exactly did you injure your leg?
Yeah, that's pretty much top thing on my mind as well. I got surgery on my knee 3 weeks ago, and so that's pretty much what I'm doing right now is a lot of therapy, lots of icing, and trying to get my leg back to shape, which will take a long time because I had to do a lot of work in there. I had a torn ACL, and I also had a torn meniscus, and I had that for quite some time, and I was trying to put off surgery or possibly avoid it altogether if that was an option. And at least, like the last couple of years, my knee's been pretty hurt with a few breaks here and there in between of a little break from it bothering me. But it's been there for quite some time. And what happened? I was in Chicago. I think it was January 6th, a few weeks ago, and the final straw was I was in the ring, just a simple landing where I just landed on my feet, and that torn meniscus folded. The tissue folded into my kneecap, and my knee was locked on it, so I had no choice. I had to get that thing taken out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, we had you on a year ago. A year ago you were with Raw, now you're with SmackDown. What are the big differences between the two brands, and which do you prefer?
There's a lot of differences. SmackDown is more younger guys, and by younger, I don't necessarily mean their age, but there's guys that are newer to the business that are still at a point where they're still trying to prove themselves, or they're still trying to discover themselves. Either way, and the work rate for that, is a little better for someone like me, because there's guys that are a little more willing to do stuff that some of the other guys that might be a little more set in their ways or such. From that way of thinking, they might not be as open to some of the stuff. So I'm going to say that I actually prefer SmackDown. Not at first. I didn't want to go there because I liked the live TV. I thought that was something that I was giving up. But now, after being on SmackDown for a while, and it's really good because it's not the same game. And by game, I do mean game.
Eric?
Well, you were really the first big name that WWE had Lesnar defeat, Brock Lesnar. What was your opinion when Brock left the company, and what do you think of him trying to get back into the wrestling business right now?
I was surprised to hear that he up and quit so quick like that, because nobody knew that was in the plans. But I think he's a freak of nature with an incredible amount of athletic ability, and so I really think that he's got a chance to do whatever he wants to do, and I think he has a good chance to making it at football. I've always said that. Even though he hasn't made it, I wouldn't be surprised if he tried out again and did make it, because things like that can be done, and I've never been one to have people that tell me I can't do something make my decisions for me. And I would not be surprised either to see Brock come right back in, because everybody comes back. It doesn't matter if you've sued the company, if you've gone out and trashed them publicly or what. It's all about, business when it comes down to it, and I have no doubt that they would welcome him back with open arms.
In June, they're going to run an ECW-only pay-per-view under the WWE banner. First of all, will you be healthy enough to attend?
Negative. I'll be healthy enough to attend, but not to compete.
Okay, and what is your opinion of them running this event under the WWE banner? Do you think it'll be the same energy?
Without RVD there, I can't guarantee that it's going to be the ultimate pay-per-view that ECW should be, but I think that they can have a hell of a show. I think the ECW fans will support it, and it'll be very successful, and turn it into like an annual pay-per-view. It's been about a month since I've probably even talked to anybody, because I've been off the road. But at the time, that we were discussing it, I was led to believe that it was going to be very authentic ECW, not a WWE version of ECW, but ECW the way that the fans know it, the way that I know it, the Dudleys know it, Dreamer, Paul, everybody, and so I had very high hopes for it. And now that I'm, injured, of course, I'm very bummed because missing that would hurt more than anything else. And I don't think it's actually officially been announced yet, or I don't know if it's all set in stone, because it has been a while since I talked to them about it. But maybe you making the announcement here makes it official. I don't know.
You were without a doubt the most over guy in ECW, but in WWE, despite what the fans seem to think, they haven't really let you get to that icon status. Are you happy with where you are right now in the WWE?
I am not as happy as I could be, but I think that I'm well adjusted, and I kind of make the most out of the conditions that I'm in.
You refused to go to Iraq when they did Christmas from Iraq. Was there any particular reason why you opted not to go?
Refuse doesn't even fit there. Despite what you might have read on the internet, it was very much a situation where I could go if I wanted to, or I could not go, and I opted not to because one, I have no desire to go to that part of the world anyway. But besides that, the fact is I've been on the road 51 weeks. I was really looking forward to having 1 week off for Christmas, and my birthday fell on that, and I was really looking forward to having that off. And when it became voluntary, at that point where it was voluntary because the crew was going into a zone that they couldn't guarantee was as safe as they had previously planned, then it was an easy decision for me.
Well, one last question before we possibly get to some quick word associations. Are you going to be involved, even from like maybe a special referee standpoint, at WrestleMania 21?
No idea.
No idea?
Okay.
Well, of course...
It's my hometown. I'll be there.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Well, do you mind if we just give you 3 word associations? We did these last round with you. We did an abbreviated last time, so we're just going to throw you a couple that we didn't get to last time.
I told you last time that I hate doing these. I'll tell you again.
Well, we don't learn, so. Undertaker?
Dead guy.
How about Triple H?
McMahon Jr.
And how about McMahon Sr., or Jr. himself, but Vince McMahon?
Respect.
Well, we can't thank you enough, and we invite everybody to go check out One of a Kind, available now in stores.
Right on, man. Guarantee the RVD fans and ECW fans will love it. Best DVD ever.
Yeah.
And also check out 5-Star Comics, guys.
Absolutely.
5starcomics.com. Appreciate it, guys. Right on, man. Have a good one.
All right, stay tuned for more from the interactive interview.
Enjoying what you're hearing? Be sure and check out WrestlingEpicenter.com on social media at Facebook.com/WrestlingEpicenter, on Twitter at James Epicenter, and of course, WrestlingEpicenter.com for 24-hour news updates, our interview archives, and all the other information you've come to expect from the Wrestling Epicenter.
No Way Out. We're probably going to start off right now with a little No Way Out recap, and
No way.
I think the consensus for this pay-per-view is pretty much everyone's in agreement that this was one of the worst pay-per-views we've had in a very long time. Am I correct when saying that, James?
I don't know. Armageddon was pretty bad.
What about Great American Bash?
Great American Bash, that was pretty bad, but I was happy because I got to see the red, white, and blue ropes again.
Oh.
I haven't seen those since like 19...
James is obviously amused by small things, but let's start off. There was the first match in the card, no build-up. It's just because I think
they have absolutely no idea what to do with Rey Mysterio or Eddie Guerrero at this point.
Well, no, that's not the first match in the card.
Isn't it? Okay.
Well, the first, not the first match we're going to talk about anyway. Booker T versus Heidenreich. I think this is because right before the pay-per-view, people are like, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. We have 5 matches on the card and a Diva competition. We need to put something else on there. So they decided to put Booker T versus Heidenreich. And James, I have to ask you a question. How much this pay-per-view, poorly booked, poorly planned, the mid-card matches were not hyped, the main event matches were hyped poorly. How much do you think this is because Vince McMahon has not been on the road with everyone?
I don't think that's really the case. I think if you look at the main event and what they're doing with Batista, I think, well, we'll get to that later, so let's not spoil that now. But when you look at that stuff, you can tell that these guys actually do have good booking ideas. I think their problem is the same problem we've been saying for the past couple of months now, is that they need a decent undercard booking. They need something that makes you want to watch the undercard, not just the main event. And we talk about WCW having the cruiserweight division and using that to their effectiveness. I don't understand why the WWE constantly makes the cruiserweight matches, which I appreciate, but I appreciate big man matches as well. But when you have the cruiserweight division, why do you always cut their time down to only a few minutes?
Or have the Divas come out and take the attention. Did you see SmackDown this week?
I did not see SmackDown this week.
There was a six-man tag match. It was between, I don't know what the teams were, but I know the participants were Spike, Spike, Chavo, Paul London.
Was Paul London the champion at one point?
No.
Okay.
Funaki. Oh, geez.
Or as I like to call him, Funakai.
2 other guys. I believe it was Akio and someone else. It slips my mind. Nunzio, I think. Middle of the match.
That little Guido.
The middle of the match, the Divas come out, the rookie Divas, which I don't even know who they are, with signs saying, vote for us at SmackDown.
Amy Weber and whoever the hell else.
And Joy and some people. So
Joy's pretty hot, actually.
Okay, yeah, but the point is, so they're walking around during a match.
Yeah.
Which was stupid. So anyway, I don't know. This pay-per-view seems like it was. In '97, WCW did a good job of making you care about the undercard. In mid-'98, WWE did the same thing. We need to get back to that because they need to realize the main event's not the only thing people are buying the card for. You buy it for a complete card, a full.
Well, that's the problem with boxing. Even though boxing does well, unless you have a really solid main event, you don't get anything. But the undercard, I don't even know these guys. So I mean, you got to separate from boxing because, quite frankly, there is no Mike Tyson of wrestling right now.
Yeah. Well, let's start off. Booker T versus Heidenreich. This match served no purpose because no one went over, and Heidenreich was in the ring. The match ended, obviously, when Heidenreich hit Booker T in the throat with a chair at about the 9-minute mark.
I don't think Heidenreich's as bad of a worker. I think he's just a bad character. There's a difference.
Okay. James Walsh is the only person in the world who thinks that. But
he went 9 minutes and wasn't terrible.
You're just a contrarian. I mean, just because people say
his character's terrible, but that doesn't mean that he's a bad worker.
He is. He's a danger to everyone else in the ring.
Who has he hurt?
No, he hasn't hurt anyone, but
then he's not a danger.
He's certainly not safe.
How can you tell that?
How can you tell that?
Unless he's hurt somebody, how is he dangerous?
I've seen a lot of the moves. He hasn't
hurt
anybody, but he's got a lot more potential than anyone else to hurt somebody.
Based on what?
Based on the way he's doing his moves. I mean, ask anybody.
He hasn't hurt anybody yet, and until he does, I think that's you using, as you would say for Triple H, using smart terms to defend your markish hate.
Yeah, I markishly hate Heidenreich.
Well, yeah, because he's going to be the world champion someday, and you're going to be angry, and he's going to marry.
Not.
And he's going to marry.
Shut up. Anyway.
He's going to marry Shane McMahon's daughter, and you know it. Who's approximately about a year old.
I would marry Shane McMahon's wife, but.
Well, thank God you don't live in a. We don't live in a country with polygamy.
Well.
Damn you.
But
Do I sound angry with you or something right now?
No, but you're just being opposite of everyone else.
No, I don't think it's fair to judge the individual based on a bad character.
But no, he's not a good wrestler.
He's not a good character. He's an okay wrestler.
No, Shelton Benjamin is an okay wrestler who you trash all the time. Heidenreich is a bad wrestler.
I don't hate Shelton. I just think that he needs...
But, I mean, sometimes you go over the top on a lot of these guys who you don't like because you think they're overrated, and then a guy that you think is underrated but they're not, you're like, oh, he's an okay.
He is okay.
Who do you think is bad? What is your definition of bad?
Mordecai.
I actually never saw Mordecai work. No, I don't think Heidenreich is any good at all. Okay, so anyways, Booker T versus Heidenreich served absolutely no...
Let me put it this way. None of them are bad, per se. Nathan Jones was bad. But none of them are bad at the WWE level because...
Heidenreich's Nathan Jones for 2005.
You might be right. I don't know. We'll have to see how that pans out. But all I will say here is, if you make it to the WWE level, it's the equivalent of making it to the pros. So you're not really bad.
Yeah, you got to remember though, in things like the NFL is real. You have to have real ability. In the WWE,
they have to see. Well, it's in the same concept. In the same concept, they have to see something in you to bring you on the show.
Yeah, he's friggin' huge.
And he wears gay little shorts, but that's not his fault.
Okay, so, anyways, pointless match. Let's go on to the tag title match. We have new tag team champions, Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio. I thought there would be a heel turn in this match. Eddie turning heel,
no.
Which, as Scherer pointed out a while ago, just seems to make Eddie a bigger face when they do that. And because I think they're building up to a Guerrero-Mysterio WrestleMania match like they're doing with Benoit and Jericho, simply because they don't have opponents. Why? Let's go back to the fundamental problem. The rosters are too small. Okay. So anyway, the Bashams... lose their tag titles to Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio Jr. And
well, you know, we predicted it. You and I against Yandick, we both predicted that there would be a title change just because they think, you know, changing the belts means something at this point.
The titles, tag titles on both brands are essentially what I call the cheap pop belts. If you look at the times the tag titles have changed hands.
Well, look at Raw from Japan. Tajiri wins the tag belts.
I was about to get to that.
Right.
If you look at, we can start way back in when Batista and Flair lost to Benoit and Edge in Canada. Big pop. Then La Resistance wins the title in French Canada. Another big pop for the. Then they almost lose the titles to Regal and Eugene in England. They don't, but there's a pop used there. Then,
they did actually get beat, but then they restarted the match.
Yeah. Then we go to Japan. Tajiri wins the titles in Japan from La Resistance. Another cheap pop. The titles are used to get a big reaction in foreign crowds or in areas where the hometown guy can win. They're useless. I'm not going to repeat what everyone else has said and what I've said for...
In order for the tag division...
The titles are completely pathetic now, and they have been ever since the whole let's split up all our tag teams idea.
What they need to do now to restore tag teams is they need to find a way to bring all the tag teams to one division and make only one tag division per brand. With your combined tag teams, you might actually have a fair brand.
Well, I mean...
Say you put the Dudley Boys, you put the Bashams, you put... La Resistance, and when he's healthy, Eugene and Regal on a tag division. At least that's a solid group of teams.
And of course they've signed the Shane twins.
Who could help. Right. Who could help eventually.
Yeah, I mean, they're big guys and they're a tag team. And that's essentially, talent is optional at this point. You just need to be a team.
They're all right. They're not bad talents.
No, I know. I'm just saying that talent is an option at this point.
They're not as good as Heidenreich, but they're good.
Guess who impresses me? Phi Delta Slam.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to go join a fraternity called I Felt a Phi.
Gimmick aside, though, I think they're good.
I don't even know who they are.
Oh, they're team Trinity. Your old buddy.
Oh yeah, my old buddy.
they're the team that Trinity brought into TNA. They're really big guys, but the one guy's finisher is a frog splash. They
He's a
remind me
fat
of
guy, right?
But yeah, they're big, but they're good. I mean, they're big, powerful teams. Look like you can probably get a nice feud out of them in AMW eventually. But let's go back.
Well, I'm going to join a fraternity called I Felt a Thigh.
Okay. Fantastic, James. Okay. 6-man cruiserweight elimination match.
Just that one time.
I was listening to PW Insider.
Apparently you were listening 3 times.
I was, because I repeat myself. I was listening to PW Insider radio the other day, and I believe it was Mike Johnson and Jess McGrath.
Yes.
Said that this match would probably go 8 to 9 minutes. And when I looked at the time for the matches, this went about 9 minutes and 2 seconds. And Funaki was eliminated within the first minute, a la WrestleMania 1. So, I mean, if you were expecting anything more out of the cruiserweight division, a cruiserweight match other than a card filler,
right,
you're insane, because that's all it is. I mean, I don't expect anything about the cruiserweight division because WWE has never shown any respect for it. When people on the internet complain about the lack of well, I mean, are you expecting anything to happen with the division? I'm not.
Let's see what we can do here. A couple months ago, they were talking about just ending it completely, the cruiserweight division.
I mean, they might as well, because they're
back when Chavo Sr. left. They were talking about just taking the belt off the TV, and that would be it. And I think that might have been actually beneficial for the belt, because you could bring it back eventually. What they have to do, and we've talked about this extensively, I'm not sure if we ever recorded it, is what they have to do to rebuild that division is they have to take that belt and they have to make it so you actually are trying to earn a #1 contender shot to get that belt.
One of the big things that WCW did to make, and I think this is universally agreed, that WCW ran the most successful American cruiserweight division in the history of professional wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons they did a big thing, obviously, they had that extra hour on Nitro. But what they did was they always, and this helped because Tenay was so knowledgeable on the cruiserweight style at the time, that he promoted the matches very well. So what they did was they had a very extensive cruiserweight roster.
I mean, a lot of the guys you see at the top now were in the WCW cruiserweight division, like Eddie Guerrero, like Rey Mysterio, like Chris Jericho.
Yeah, and Benoit.
Benoit, yeah, but he wasn't. I don't know. Was he really a part of the cruiserweights? Well,
he was in the finals for the first cruiserweight title, but
yeah, but after that they kind of distanced him from it.
No, he was in it. I mean, you got to consider Benoit one of the founding fathers. But the thing was, WCW varied their cruiserweights. I mean, so you had all different types. You had the high flyers,
like Ray.
You had the high flyers from Japan,
like Liger.
And Liger would come in occasionally. You had the Mexican, the luchadors like Juvi and Ray and Psychosis. You had the sports entertainer cruiserweights like Chris Jericho. You had the fantastic mat technicians, or sports entertainers like Jericho and Eddie. You had the fantastic mat technicians like Malenko and Benoit.
And even Kidman, you could say.
Yeah, well, I was about to say the American high flyers. You had like Kidman and I can't think of another one. But I mean,
Blitzkrieg. Whatever happened to Blitzkrieg? That guy was cool.
He was a nice addition.
I mean, the guy had talent, and he was over. I don't know why he was over, but he was.
Yeah, well, they had all.
Remember El Cockroach?
It was over, as we said, though they never built on it. But back to
remember El Cockroach?
No.
It was Disco Inferno under a mask for like 3 weeks until somebody figured it out.
Disco had some good feuds in the cruiserweight division when he was trying to make weight and stuff.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
he and Kidman had great matches.
What?
He and Billy Kidman had great matches.
He and Juvi had very good matches.
Yeah, he was, that's when he shined. That was the highlight of his career.
I mean, if you put him in there, because once again, Disco was a sports entertainment type cruiserweight, if you put him in with a guy like Juvi who could fly, the contrast seemed to work. They had good chemistry together. And Kidman, of course, was over as hell in '98. But back to
when he broke free of the flock. When he broke free of the flock, he could have very well gone on to be the next Bret Hart.
Yeah, and actually people were saying that. But of course,
but that was because he looked so much like him.
Yeah. But obviously we know what happened with that. They never seemed to be able to handle a guy coming out of the cruiserweight division and bringing him up, which was WCW's biggest problem. But what they did do
one of many big problems.
Yes. Okay. What they did do right was They always had matches. See, on WWE, the only time you see the cruiserweight title, anything involving the cruiserweight title, is with a tag team match involving the champion, or a match where the champion's defending his belt, or a non-title match. You never see other cruiserweights competing for higher rankings, which is what you need to see to make it seem like an actual division, not like, I mean, how did these guys earn their shots? I mean, you got to have logic in there.
Yes.
That was a big reason. That's what WWE needed to do. They have the talent there. They just don't have the promotion behind it. WWE put a lot of promotion, a lot of power behind their cruiserweight division.
And what they also did is they also made shows like Saturday Night matter, because not only could the cruiserweight title be defended on Saturday night, but you'd also see a match between two cruiserweights, and it would be for the #1 contendership, which means that they'd go on to Nitro and face them.
I'll tell you, and this is not. I mean, WCW had a fantastic product in the early part of '98, but I'll tell you, a lot of times I would switch. I was a WWE fan at this time, but I watched WCW. But I would switch over from whatever they had on to watch Jericho or whatever the other guys were doing in the division, just to see, because the cruiserweight division was so fascinating at that time, because I had never seen a product like that.
And the WWF, and everybody forgets this, they were the ones who initially brought in all the luchadors.
Misused them terribly.
They had them on what the hell was the Sunday show? All American, or what was it after that? I can't even remember.
I don't know.
It was with Doc Hendricks, and I think Sonny hosted it. And that's when Sonny was absolutely gorgeous. But back to the point, they had them on that show, and the crowd just didn't care, and they had them in like battle royals and such, and it just
well, why should they care when WWE has been led to believe that the only marketable people are Gargantua?
Well, that's true. But you have to look at it this way, though. And this is the way I think the WWE is right, and I know this drives the internet crazy. The ones that'll draw the money are the believable big guys, in my opinion. Or the exceptional Benoit. You know, you have to have an exceptional talent.
Well, here's what I'm saying. Spike Dudley and Ray will never be world champions.
And they probably shouldn't be.
Agreed. But you can't. But saying a guy like Eddie can't be champion is different.
Oh, well, yes. Eddie's exceptional.
Small.
Yes.
Eddie is a small guy. I'm probably about 7 inches or so taller than Eddie. I'm 6'4". I don't know how tall Eddie is, but he is small. He's a little guy. But I mean,
he's 5'8".
What?
He's 5'8".
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, see, the thing is, if promoted properly, and if made to be believable, and you play off strengths.
And it's also the way you work. For some reason, whenever you watch Eddie, you don't think, well, there's a small guy.
Yeah, but cruiserweight style wrestlers can be champions, Jericho and HBK.
Right.
I mean, and by the way, and no one can say that Jericho's wrestling style was his failure as a champion. That was just the booking team jerking him around. But
I think he was a horrible worker.
What?
Heidenreich's a better worker than Jericho. Of course, I'm being sarcastic. Yeah. By the way, check out Chris Jericho's interview in our archives area.
Yes. Yeah. Chris, thank you for Chris coming on. So let's get back to the thing. Cruiserweight Championship. We got a new champ. We got Chavo, but nobody cares. No offense to Chavo. Fantastic worker. Fantastic talent. But nobody, he's in a division nobody cares about.
One of the things, though, that the internet gets wrong, and I do want to throw this in there while we're talking about the cruiserweights, is that they seem to want only cruiserweights. You have to have that parity. You have to.
No, yeah, variety is the word.
Variety is the word. Well, I'm making up words. You know how
parity is a word. It's just not used.
Well, yes, but okay, you got me there. Anyway, you have to have variety in a show. You have to start out with the cruiserweights, or start out with an action-packed match, and then you get to the main event. And the main event, regardless if you like it or not, traditionally is a big man match. You have to at least have a big man match on the show.
I don't know. I don't know if it's always the big man match. You need to have a big man match on the show, but I don't know if it's always the main event. I mean, traditionally, Vince doesn't put. Yeah, he does put big man, but I mean, look at a lot of his champions. You had Brett.
Brett wasn't huge. Brett was not a cruiserweight, though. You said that once before. I disagree with that completely.
Yeah, I think Brett was. Yeah, but I mean, Brett. But okay, bottom line is Brett.
I mean, Brett next to Hoovy still looked big.
Yeah. Okay, Brett, Shawn, Austin wasn't that big.
No, but he was. He hit it well. He was only, what, 6'1"?
Yeah, I mean, he was big.
Bigger than me.
Rock is 6'5". He's a big guy, but I mean, he's no Andre.
Well, yeah, but I mean, look at the champions that they had at the early part. You know, Bruno was a big dude.
Savage.
Savage, not a big guy.
Yeah.
He could, you know.
Buddy Rogers.
Yeah. But then you had
Pedro.
Hogan at the top for 4 years, and then you had Andre get it from him for
Pedro,
10 seconds.
Backlund. Sheik.
Sheik is a big dude.
Sheik's not that as big as you think.
He's a pretty big dude.
You know, I mean, yeah,
He's
had
thick,
him,
at
typically
least.
guys like Andre and Big Show don't rule the roost for too long.
I mean, Andre had one of the longest runs. I'm sorry about that. Andre had one of the longest runs in the WWE of anybody.
Especially as world champion.
Oh, 13 seconds.
Yeah.
If that. What was it? He won the belt, but it classified him as actually winning the belt, but...
He won the belt, but second he sold it to DiBiase, he lost it because you cannot, the transaction from you cannot buy the world championship.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's get on to more No Way Out.
Well, first I want to throw this quote in there, which is probably the best promo Hogan ever cut. How much did you pay for the plastic surgery, brother?
Yeah, that sounds like it's one of the best I've ever heard.
You know why? Because they had the dual Earl Hebners. That counted the 3 count when his shoulder was up.
It was Dave Hebner, his brother.
Yes.
I just dropped my remote. Okay. Back to okay. Number one
You gonna cry?
match tournament final. From what I'm hearing, most people think this was the best match on the show. It was Kurt Angle versus John Cena. Cena obviously shocked everyone with beating Angle. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic. Cena shocked no one.
We knew it was going to happen. I mean.
Yeah. But here's what confused me about this match, James, and I know it confused you. The end of the match, the fans in unison at the finish, they knew what was supposed to happen. They started chanting HBK.
Well, yeah, and that's unfortunate too. I don't like the fact that the internet is so huge that it actually starts to seep into the television show. That they actually.
No. I'm just saying they've been promoting the fact that. Remember, Angle brutalized Shawn
at the Rumble,
at the Royal Rumble, and then they've been promoting the feud. This isn't the internet. This is just the fans saying, "Oh, we want Shawn to come over here and beat up Kurt."
Well, they didn't even have to have him beat him up. What they could have done, and this is my idea, and I said this in an instant message, was Angle could have popped his straps and he getting ready to either do the ankle lock or the angle slam, and Michael's music could have hit, and he could have stood on the ring ramp, and had them look down at Angle look over at him. Cena comes from behind, spins him around, hits the FU. That's it. Then the next week on SmackDown, Angle's angry, saying, "Oh, I got screwed by Shawn Michaels." And of course, then he can cut the Brock Lesnar promo. "I want Michaels."
But I mean, the bottom line is, Shawn should have been on that show.
Yes.
I mean, he should have had a part in that because otherwise, the fans wanted to see it. You and I wanted to see it. Pretty much everyone wanted to see Shawn get some sort of revenge or progress.
Or something, something to make the fans actually want to see it. But now that Angle just got beat the pay-per-view before WrestleMania, regardless if you agree with this or not, he's somewhat damaged. Not to the point where he's not valuable, but he's somewhat damaged, and unfortunately, it looks to me like he'd probably have to go over at WrestleMania if he's going to be worth anything.
Well, it looks to me like this might be Angle's last match. If that's the case, Shawn has to go over.
It won't be his last match.
I don't think his neck can hang up. I don't think his neck can hang up. Hold up.
I hope his neck doesn't hang up. That could hurt.
All right. The main event. The barbed wire.
Did you know that the guy from the Family Feud hung himself?
Mark Summers?
No. Ray Combs.
Really?
He's a little guy, yeah. He's a good guy.
All right. Barbed wire steel cage match. JBL versus The Big Show. I thought it was a clever finish.
Oh, yeah.
JBL is still the champion.
Yes. It was a clever finish because you were telling me the results before I actually saw it. And I watched this thing. I mean, you told me this result, and you're saying, well, Big Show takes the wire cutters, cuts the cage door open, and escapes. The bell rings. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, Big Show's world champion.
But JBL has crawled under the ring, through the hole, and since his feet were on the ground, JBL retains the title.
Very creative. Very creative. That was a very creative finish.
So, obviously, this is followed by JBL's cabinet coming down, attacking the Big Show. Then Batista comes out, destroys them. JBL tries to scurry away. Cena gets JBL, and Cena throws him into the TV monitor and stares down with Batista. Teddy Long had told us earlier in the night if he can get Batista to sign, WrestleMania match will be a three-way between whoever the champion is, Cena, and Batista. So
Daddy,
if he can,
I think it's a good idea.
if he can get Batista to sign, it will be JBL, Cena.
Let's do it, Daddy.
Animal, Batista. By the way, Carlito, who's in his ongoing feud with Mr. Theodore Long, was wooing one of the board of directors' wives. Apparently, has found out that if Teddy Long does not sign Batista on Raw tonight, because it's actually 2 hours before Raw, then Teddy Long will be removed as general manager of SmackDown.
Very interesting.
So,
Who would they put as the general manager? Carlito?
I don't know. Maybe they would.
I wish they would
why?
just.
Okay, I'll say this. I know it doesn't make any sense, but just for the fact that, okay, everybody agrees that SmackDown was the best in around 2003.
I disagree with that.
When do you think SmackDown was the best?
I don't think SmackDown was ever the best. I think it was always a secondary show.
When it was the best.
I always thought it was a secondary show.
No, when it was the best.
Oh. Not better than Raw. The best that it has been.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, but I disagree with that. I think SmackDown was better than Raw, or at least better than it is now, I should say, around WrestleMania 19 time,
Yeah,
2003.
Oh, you know what year that is, James? It's 2003. Oh, shocker. Anyway, so, okay. This doesn't make any sense, but during that time...
I will eat your heart.
During that time, Stephanie was the general manager. I know that obviously that has no bearing on anything, but maybe just to, like, capture the old feel of the better SmackDown.
Oh, I love when you talk about feeling Stephanie McMahon in the same sentence.
Shut up. Stephanie should become general manager. I don't know. Maybe just anything. Try Karma. I don't know. But, I don't know.
Maybe they can find that bag of dirt. Maybe they can find Booker T's bag of dirt and do voodoo to make it better.
I told you, when they need guys back that have big names, because they don't have anybody they can create right now. They need I hate to say it because I don't like the guy, but they need Brock Lesnar back.
Nah, it's not just that. There's going to be a draft.
There's going to be a draft, but what can they do, James?
They can get Shawn Michaels over there, which will be an exciting superstar to bring to the brand, and somebody else. So they need to bring one other guy over there at least. I want to say Jericho, but he's just been flipped over so many times. But at least maybe they'd be able to do something with him on SmackDown.
I would say do your best to sign Lesnar and Hogan, because they would capture the old SmackDown feel. If you remember 2003, they were the two bigger names. They were two of the bigger names in the company. So that's what I would do, because when you think of Shawn, you think of Raw. You want something that you think of SmackDown, but you don't think of shitty SmackDown. So sorry about my language. You know, I mean, as much as I dislike the guy, I think Lesnar would bring that feel back.
Absolutely, I tend to agree with you.
I think.
Unfortunately, I don't like Brock Lesnar either, and I think that Vince will hesitate on ever putting his years of, or millions and years of programming towards promoting one superstar that has already proven that he burned him in the past.
Yeah.
When they brought Sable back, she wasn't the same Sable or she wasn't given the same push that she was in '98.
Smart move by Vince.
Right.
Hogan, along with Rock, was one of the initial catalysts for a SmackDown that was at least competitive to Raw. So I think bringing Hogan back would be a smart move. Am I saying Hogan is still great in the ring? No, but just his presence alone is going to give you something that you don't have before. He's still good on the mic. That doesn't really diminish with much Ric Flair, and your neck fat gets in the way of your vocal cords.
The thing is, and this is what people need to understand, regardless if Hogan can go or not, he pretty much still looks the same. Looks a little older, but he pretty much, you look at him, you don't confuse him with anybody else.
Yeah.
That's Hulk Hogan.
And luckily in Hogan's case, and this is why he's been able to go so long, if he didn't have his charisma, pretty much no one would care about his matches. But the fact is he does have his charisma, and you can't take that away from him. And, I mean, his draw was never his ability to go. It was his ability to get the crowd emotionally involved in his match, which he can probably still do.
Which is exactly what Hacksaw Jim Duggan talks about.
Yeah, so, they care about him, and he'd be a good, and of course he's always been a true WWE superstar. And I think if Vince didn't ask him to do anything crazy, like lose to him,
right, which is what happened in the past, so.
Well, that's what I was talking about.
Yep.
And,
hey, not everybody is as well informed as we are.
Well, I think they can pick up on...
I'm the game!
Techniques.
Why did I just say that?
Okay,
I don't really have a clue.
Anyway, so I think that'd be a smart thing to do. So that was No Way Out. Hopefully, somehow this will benefit WrestleMania, I guess.
No way in hell.
Yeah, but anyway, the RVD interview was fun, and I'll tell you this. Talking with Rob, and you normally, when people think of Rob, they think of him as kind of a laid-back, not really too smart stoner. But, I mean, talking to him, he's a lot smarter.
Well, he'll never come on again now after he heard that.
No. I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying some people may get that impression.
Okay, I got you.
But I mean, talking to him, he's a pretty well-spoken guy. He's able to
articulate.
Yeah, he's able to articulate. He's pretty eloquent, which that surprised me about him. So I didn't know. Once again, we fantastically thank RVD for coming on the show. Kudos to him. We really appreciate it. He really helps us out. Check out his 5-star comics, and also check out that new DVD, mostly ECW matches, which Rob will admit was the prime of his career and his best matches.
Never talk about TNA.
Oh, we never talk about... Okay, let's talk about TNA.
Real quickly, though, because we got to get out of here in a couple of minutes. But
okay. They had a good Impact this week. Against all odds, James was underwhelmed by it. I think it was better than most people thought.
Especially going into...
Jarrett Nash was good. A lot better than I thought it'd be. The New Age Outlaw, Billy Gunn, debuted. Sean Waltman came in. That gives them a lot of name recognition they didn't have before, and it gives it kind of an excitement factor of anything can happen on the pay-per-view, which I think TNA desperately needs to...
They needed that to happen to save the pay-per-view, because the pay-per-view on its own, the way it was booked, could not stand on its own. You had DDP and Monty Brown teaming up for no apparent reason.
Oh, that's not true. They were originally supposed against Hall and Rude, who attacked Page and Monty a few weeks on Impact. You'd know if you watched Impact more regularly.
I do watch Impact. The only thing is, it just seemed like teaming those two up, especially Hall and Rude, if Hall didn't... you hate when I say fell off the wagon, so what did I say?
Got shit-faced.
Oh, great. Yes, well, whatever. When that happened... that changed the match, obviously, but having those two team up just didn't seem to make sense. I'm not crazy about the way that TNA is being booked right now. I wish them luck, and I watch the pay-per-views, but I just think that they need to make their pay-per-views a little bit more special and make the matches mean something.
Well, Destination X looks like it's going to be good.
Yes, they've already got a main event scheduled, which is
They've got a lot of matches scheduled, actually. They got the return. I mean, granted, I think they're doing this a lot. You agree with me?
Turn out.
Shut up. I think they're doing this a lot, but I still think Ultimate X is a drawing factor. They're going to have that Ultimate X match with AJ defending against... It's going to be kind of a weird thing. It's going to be him defending against 3 other guys. It starts out as a tag team match. Whoever gets pinned, it goes to a triple threat. Then it goes to a singles Ultimate X match.
Now, what if AJ loses the tag match?
He's out.
Wow. Well, that's an interesting little tournament.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think TNA needs to get away from so many gimmick matches.
They need to stop doing Ultimate X. I wrote this on the forums, and please check out the forums.
Yeah.
My comment on there, and I think that the people that actually post on the forums agree with me. Ultimate X reminds me of the WWE's Royal Rumble, or maybe to a lesser extent their Elimination Chamber. And what they don't do with those matches is they protect them. You don't see them every 5 weeks. You see them either once a year or whenever it really fits, which usually can even be more than a year. With TNA's case, they did one in December on Fox Sports Net. They did one in January on the, what the hell was it, Final Resolution card. And then they're going to do one on Destination X. That's 3 in the past 4 months. That's just too many Ultimate X matches, and it takes away from its luster.
Yes, I agree. So obviously the main event will be Double J, Jeff Jarrett, King of the Mountain, Planet Jarrett.
And you can listen to his interview in the archives.
DD versus DDP. You can listen to his interview on the archives.
And you can listen to them side by side and see who wins.
And of course, the Ultimate X Match Challenge will be on that card. AJ Styles. You can listen to his interview in the forums.
Yeah, we got a lot of these guys on this card.
Yeah. Let's see. The bull rope match will be Dustin Rhodes versus Raven.
I haven't got either of those guys yet, but we'll try.
We're gonna try. I want to get Raven. I really want to get Raven because he's a smart guy, and he's pretty integral to the history of the business. The charismatic Enigma, Jeff Hardy will take on Abyss in a Falls Count Anywhere, which I don't know seems to be kind of a step back from Full Metal Mayhem.
Yeah, I don't know. They have a good feud going, at least.
Yeah, I still think Abyss should just be squashing everybody. I mean, littler guys. And of course, big sexy Kevin Nash. Once again, it's a gimmick match. Who wouldn't have thought there's no disqualification versus the New Age Outlaw?
Mm. Well, that's no disqualification is the lesser of the gimmick matches.
Yeah, certainly is.
So that's an interesting pairing, putting those two together. So it could be interesting. I don't think they've ever worked together.
Before we can, I actually think the Destination X trailer is kind of interesting. You want to hear it?
Sure.
Okay, here it goes.
Life is not measured by the number of breaths we take, but rather by the number of moments that take our breath away. TNA Wrestling presents Destination X, live Sunday, March 13th on pay-per-view.
I don't know, I think that's one of the cooler trailers they've had in a while.
Luke.
It did sound Darth Vader-esque.
I am your father. He sounds just like Darth Vader, that guy.
Destination X. Yeah, so, by the way, how cool is Christopher Daniels' ring attire at Against All Odds?
Oh, Christopher Daniels is coming along nicely.
Yeah.
You never have been a big fan of his work, I'll say that.
I think he's... I don't discount his talent. I just think he gets too much credit.
Mm. He's no Heidenreich.
He's no Heiden. No, I think without a doubt the best non-WWE worker, without a doubt, is AJ.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Christopher Daniels is also available in the archives.
Yeah, Christopher Daniels and AJ. I think AJ's kind of cooled down because people know about him so much now, but still, I still think there's no one as far as non-WWE workers that can touch them.
I think that the internet's mad at him for choosing TNA over ROH.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter where he goes. The guy's so talented that it just doesn't. I don't know. He just understands the business so well. And
I was shocked to hear in the interview that he didn't grow up a wrestling fan. He just fell into it.
Yeah, and he's a good person on top of that.
Which is rare.
Yeah.
Well.
And what is he, like 25 or something?
I don't know, 25, 26, something like that.
Yeah, and he's so young. He's got a good head on his shoulders. That he's going to be successful no matter where he goes. And the fact that and I'll tell you what, my only knock against AJ in the past, and this is the only knock I have, was his mic skills. Just seem to be, average at best. And mostly it's because of the Southern dialect, which can hinder a lot of people. Jeff Jarrett's gotten over it. I mean, it doesn't hinder him anymore. But I'll tell you what, in recent months, AJ's gotten a lot better on the mic.
Right.
And that's another good thing about guys who can improve like that and who can just get better in everything.
Well, the thing is, in wrestling, they exploit. The reason that the Southern dialect would injure a character is in wrestling they exploit your ethnicity in some way.
Yeah.
Muhammad Hassan obviously is Arab, so they make him the Arab American. You have.
Although he probably, if you talked to him on the phone, you wouldn't be able to distinguish him from anyone else, you know.
Yeah.
You'll say, oh, that's an Arab guy, you know. I mean,
yeah, but by looking at him, you can tell.
Oh, yeah. He's a great talker, though.
Jeff Jarrett in the WWF became a wife beater because he was Southern.
Yeah.
What else is there?
Saba Simba.
Saba Simba, because he's black, he has to be an African pole dancer.
Yeah.
What the hell else? Let me think. There's got to be a million of them. Farouk has to be the leader of the Black Panthers. You know, it's just ridiculous.
Who else is there? Yeah.
Godfather has to be a pimp.
The Kurgan looks German, so he's got to be a South African militant.
Yep.
Let's see. It's funny though, because when Vince doesn't exploit their ethnicity with guys like The Rock, it just people can be a lot more successful than when Vince gives them some stupid character, like Teddy Long's character, which I know Teddy Long doesn't act like that at all.
Right. You're a 50-year-old black guy. Yeah, I don't think you talk play.
I don't think Teddy Long's going to talk the street. I'm sure he just talks. He's just like, hey, how you doing? You know,
Hey.
He's not. You know, you know, Vince is.
Teddy Long, I want to put this over, is probably one of the other really good guys in the business.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, Vince is so closed off.
I have a story. I'm going to share it with you just because I got it told. Every Christmas, he calls Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Christmas morning. And he thanks him because Ricky stood up for him once in the NWA and helped get him that job. And every Christmas since then, Christmas morning, he calls him just to thank him. That's a good guy right there.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to see the guy's got a steady job in WWE and that he's getting a nice paycheck because, yeah, I've heard stories like that about him too. So, I mean, best of luck. But I mean, the thing is, Vince sees these guys, and of course, Vince is so closed off culturally. They'll see like a Chinese guy, and he'll be like, "Oh, let's make him." I don't know. Let's make him a karate guy, because all Oriental. I'm sorry. All Asian people.
Oriental's offensive?
Yes, my friend, she is Korean. You get very offended about that. So.
Oriental's a rug. I'm Asian.
That's what she said, and I hope she's not listening.
That is what she said, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that once before too.
Yeah. Well.
People need to stop being so damn defensive.
Well,
I'm an Irish Mick. Call me if you want. I don't give a shit. Sorry, pardon my language. But, you know.
Anyway, well, I respect people's wishes. But, and then Vince will see, like, a black guy and be like, hey, let's make him a pimp or a drug dealer. Because that's how I know. So.
Yep, yeah. I mean, it's stereotypes. I mean, you know that, you know, to a lesser extent, Shane Helms is a comic book freak, so they make him the Hurricane. You know, they exploit either parts of your character or the way you look to the best of their ability. And, you know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. We're naming the bad examples, but of course it does work sometimes. Anyway, I mean, look at Hulk Hogan. He was so huge that they thought he looked like Lou Ferrigno physically, so they created the Hulk character, and look how well that caught on. I mean, there are good examples.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Vince needs to realize that it's, you know, I mean, just looking at people's appearances, you can't really, you sit down and talk to these people, I mean, you
get a better feel for who they actually are.
Yeah, as opposed to just some...
Yes, sir. So we're going to wrap this one up. Eric, it's your turn.
Let's see, I got a song idea for today, but let's see, who do we have to thank? Well, thank for everybody who's listening right now. We appreciate it. Check in for more Stump the Host on winning the books. And
yes, and those books are on the way, by the way.
Yes, and the copy of Wrestling Spirit by Adam Ryland. Big kudos to Mr. Ryland for sending me the copy. I will have a review up. The game is fantastic. I've been playing it nonstop. It's a great game.
Write it up, and I'll put it in the articles area.
Yeah, I will have that up.
Also, check out the main page. I have an article up sent to me by Francine. It's the press release for her new website.
And Francine will be joining us soon.
Hopefully so, yes.
And we'll hopefully have Missy on.
Probably the same show.
Francine.
Yeah, maybe the same show. Missy Hine and Francine.
Thanks to everybody for getting publicity. Thank you to Mr. Chris Yandick for helping us out with a lot of that publicity. I want to close out, if it's okay with you, Survival of the Sickest.
That sounds fine. I had a feeling you were going to say that.